Support WrestleTalk!
Is the WWE brand split ending? Vince McMahon declares himself a genius multiple times, which is proved by the revival having burning cream on their genitalia. And find out about the latest backstage firing in the company. Click the timestamps in the video description below to go straight to any of those stories. I'm Ollie Davis. Give us a subscribe, press the thumbs up button, and answer our question of the day in the comments. Do you think the WWE brand split is ending? Because I'll be replying to people from out of nowhere. And click that eye above my head to give your rating of the show, where you can choose from rawsome, core, average, poor, and rawful, as I review the 6th of May 2019 edition of Monday Night SmackDown. Wait, what? Before we dive into the various panicked changes that happened on this show, it's important to know what exactly has likely caused them. Both Raw and SmackDown have experienced record low ratings since WrestleMania, with the viewership numbers dropping further every week. WWE are hemorrhaging viewers, which means there's only one thing left to do. Get Vince McMahon and Roman Reigns out there. And not just Roman, but Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan, who both interrupted Vince in this opening segment, because this is the way the brand split ends, everyone. Not with a bang, but a whimper. Vince announced his totally well thought out plan that it had all along. Wildcard rules, where up to 3 SmackDown stars could appear on Raw, and up to 3 Raw stars could appear on SmackDown every week. A plan so well thought out, it was actually 6 SmackDown stars who had turned up by the end of the night. Vince then declared himself a genius. Genius! Genius! All this after Reigns called out the McMahons for not listening to the WWE Universe, despite promising they would in their new era announcement back in December, which, along with the random Ricochet, Aleister Black, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano call-ups in February, makes this the 3rd soft reboot of WWE in just 6 months. That's like more than the DC Extended Universe. To celebrate, tonight we're getting 2 WrestleMania rematches. Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. I don't think anyone wants to see that though, and Kofi versus Bryan, which is genuinely awesome. And McMahon's infinite booking wisdom didn't stop there, as he then made AJ Styles and Seth Rollins team together. But how will they coexist to face Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin? Genius! Because not even the wildcard rule can escape the pull of Baron Corbin's midcard vortex. Corbin and Lashley actually picked up the win, with AJ accidentally hitting Seth with a phenomenal forearm to then just leave him in the ring to lose. A nice development in their feud. Sami Zayn was out next to obnoxiously ask the crowd what have they got to complain about now, which was half heel promo, half actual crowd survey, because WWE don't understand their audience. And then Sami's weeks of uninterrupted heel promos finally went somewhere. To the dump, as Braun Strowman chased him round the building and put him in a literal dumpster, which was then emptied into a truck. This was fine, I guess, but I'm getting Braun versus Kevin Owens vibes, which was not a good feud. The Lucha House Party don't just love to have fun, they also love to beat 3 random jobbers. Ricochet was out next to take on the only man to beat him one-on-one on the main roster, the Moustache, Robert Roode, with his Money in the Bank place on the line, which Ricochet won with a 630, a number that seems to be made up by 50-50. Ricochet's original loss now feels pointless, and Roode's revamped momentum is already starting to derail. Quick, let's get it back on track with a Moustache break! Samoa Joe cornered Eddie Guerrero's son Dominic to challenge Rey Mysterio to a US title match at Money in the Bank. All 4 women's Money in the Bank participants, Natalya, Naomi, Dana Brooke and Alexa Bliss, were invited down to watch Lacey Evans beat a jobber next, which turned into a quick Becky Lynch brawl. The Raiden Experience quickly beat the Raw Tag Team Champions Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, I forgot they had the belts again too, to hardly any crowd reaction. And then we got WWE's most consistently entertaining segment, the latest installment of Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse. This week somehow managed to take an even darker turn, with Mercy the Buzzard eating the Rambling Rabbit character for forcing his bohemian worldview on him, likely a reference to the death of Bray's old character. But instead of punishing Mercy, Wyatt said everyone can be forgiven as long as they express themselves, setting up some potentially fascinating character motivation for Bray's future feuds and eventual losses to John Cena and Roman Reigns. And to cap off the terror, the closing image was of Bray having picnic time with loads of unhappy kids. WWE's editing department are so good, they even made Reigns vs McIntyre at WrestleMania 35 look mildly interesting. Thankfully, this rematch was much better and way more back and forth than the usual Roman sells for 90% template. But just when Reigns had it won with a spear, SmackDown Shane McMahon and Elias caused the DQ. Dear God. McIntyre, McMahon, Elias. The wildcard rule has brought a new midcard of evil,
because nothing can escape Shane McMahon's nepotistic push!
Elias and McIntyre continued to beat down Reigns, while Miz chased after Shane in a pretty cool backstage fight. The Revival were about to take on Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson when the Usos revealed they'd replaced the Revival's wash products with some form of burning cream, which Dash and Scott sold like their balls were on fire. If only there was a big pay-per-view you could build the payoff match around. It's just the latest example of WWE embarrassing the Revival because they reportedly want to leave the company, which is what it is. What's far more damaging, however, is how poorly Raw has booked the Usos, an act that's actually sticking around, presenting them as annoying comedy pranksters rather than their badass reputation they built up on SmackDown. Lars Sullivan decided to get in on the wildcard stuff too, beating up No Way Jose and his accompanying sex party, so Vince said in a backstage bit afterwards that maybe 4 wrestlers can turn up now. Genius! And the main event was a great match between Kingston and Bryan, built up terrifically with fiery direct-to-camera promos throughout the show. Kingston won clean with a Trouble in Paradise, putting him over really strong. This was a bizarre show. Definitely interesting and way more watchable than previous weeks, but more from a mesmerizing car crash perspective than anything good. Again, the talent is mostly incredible. WWE's presentation of them is woefully ineffective. This week's Raw is poor. Now over to Luke with that news.
Thanks, man. What a lovely little... Hang on. Whoa. Where's your moustache? The moustache. Where's it gone?
What moustache? You mean the Robert Roode meme?
No. Your moustache. The one you had for the Sexy Boy video, though. It was right... It was here.
No.
It was right there.
You must be mistaking me for someone else. I've never had a moustache. That seems to be some other version in another timeline. It's not me.
A dark timeline. Oh well.
Sexy timeline.
It seems that Raw and SmackDown aren't the only ones going through a shake-up at the moment, with wrestlers trading brands a couple of weeks ago, and now the wild card means they can also go between brands. But there also seems to be a shake-up backstage. It's previously been reported that long-standing producers Arn Anderson and Dean Malenko both left the company, with new faces like Abyss, Shane Helms, and Sanjay Dutt replacing them. And on the writing side of things, Road Dogg stepped down from his position due to creative frustrations. R.D. Evans was fired for having WWE head honcho Vince McMahon's name in Bret Hart's WWE Hall of Fame speech. How bloody dare he? And it's also been reported that Dave Schilling and Kazim Famuyid have also been either released or decided to leave of their own accord, with Jeff Jarrett and Dana Warrior stepping into creative roles. And now there's another name to add to that list out the door, with both Fightful and Pro Wrestling Sheet reporting that Raw writer Ryan Callahan was released last Thursday. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful reports that Callahan was a home writer, meaning meaning he didn't travel to the shows on a weekly basis. And his firing had nothing to do with the falling ratings, and instead because he would often clash with longtime creative member Dave Kapoor, who WWE fans might remember as Great Khali manager Rajan Singh. According to Fightful, Kapoor felt that Callahan took creative changes a little too personally and was difficult to work with, not setting a good example for the rest of the writing team. Callahan was subsequently fired the evening of Thursday, May 2nd. Someone who made the decision to sign with All Elite Wrestling over WWE is Darby Allin. Allin competed over the weekend in Progress's Super Strong Style 16, his first wrestling matches outside of North America, and will have his debut match for All Elite Wrestling at Fighter Festival in June when he takes on Cody Rhodes. WrestleTalk.com's Louis Dangoor sat down with Allin over Super Strong Style 16 weekend to talk about his decision to choose AEW, confirming rumors that WWE did have an interest in signing him.
I really want to be creatively in control at all times because I don't feel like people understand what I'm all about, and I feel like they might have just been like, you're the guy who's going to cut promos in the attic with Paul Spooky, like you don't know shit about me. So I don't even want to play that game right now.
Allin also spoke about who he'd like to face at a future AEW event, and the answer may surprise you.
I don't even know, man. I don't even watch wrestling. I don't even know what's going on. I would.
Well, so who'd be the guy?
I'd say Ricky Martin or something.
Who'd be the person you want?
What I want.
Who do you want to wrestle on an AEW show? If the choice was yours.
Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin to AEW confirmed. Living La Vida Loca! Unless he's talking about Apprentice Season 8 winner Ricky Martin, who himself is a professional wrestler. That Ricky Martin also to AEW confirmed. Living La Vida Loca! We won't spoil who won the Super Strong Style tournament in case people are waiting for it to arrive on Demand Progress, but we will certainly talk about Jimmy Havoc bidding farewell to the promotion following his brutal death match with Paul Robinson. Havoc was announced to be joining All Elite Wrestling earlier this year, and he told Louis Dangoor of WrestleTalk.com that he would like to have a death match against newly free agent Jon Moxley, something he teased when Moxley released his video and Havoc shared it with a thinking emoji.
Really?
Oh, I love wrestling, yeah. Part of me hopes it's a work and he's staying there because I clap my hands. It's very good, it's very well done. But yeah, no, I love wrestling, yeah. We're meant to do a No Rebarbo match in Germany years ago. It was meant to be a tag match. It was meant to be me and Drake Younger against Sami Callihan and Moxley, but Sami got a staph infection, so he couldn't do it. So they pulled me out of the match, which sucked.
Jimmy Havoc versus Jon Moxley in AEW confirmed. Living La Vida Loca! Those interviews, along with chats with David Starr, Mark and Vicky Haskins, Jordan Grace, and more, will be released as a special bonus Wrestle Ramble podcast later this week. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our pledge hammers on Patreon, some of which you can see scrolling their way into my stomach. What are the most shocking moments from Avengers Endgame? Find out in SoCal Val's video over on Screenstalker, and check out housemate Simon and El Fakador's newest WrestleTalk series, Screen Grapple. I've been Luke Owen, and that was wrestling.